There you guys. It's continuing on from where we left off last time. Last time we'd pretty much finished the entire upper body minus the hands and the boots. So we're going to go ahead and get those finished now. So just going to go to my channel box and turn on my reference layer. I'm going to select my Retopologized mesh and head into the modeling kit. And if you've closed down your scene, I'm just actually going to start completely from scratch. If I just go new scene, you want to go file, recent projects, and load in your current project. Go to open scene and we'll get our Maya file loaded in, and we'll start off with something like that depending on where you left off your save. First of all, we want to make the reference layer visible. We want to select our retopology layer and go into the modeling toolkit. If you haven't got that open already, it's in the top right corner. Where we have the option for transform constraints, we want to go on to other surface and choose poly surface 3, because that's the name of the original reference mesh. From there we can go on to quad draw and we'll be able to carry on from where we left off. Just going to turn the grid off as I don't need it, I find it a little bit distracting sometimes. And around here, this is where we're just going to carry on from the feet, well, from the end of the legs, and carry on into the actual boots themselves. Now there doesn't need to be a huge number of polygons in this area. We will do along the longitude rather than the latitude, just because it'll keep the roundness of the shape. But there aren't a whole lot of wrinkles and things that need a massive amount of detail in here. So we can just keep the curvature of the surface and not have to worry too much about that. Let's just go ahead and draw these polygons around. That'll bring the boots out from the leg, from the end of the leg, so you get that sort of slight lip. And there's going to be a point where we'll probably need to just kill off a few of the verts. So let's just merge in a triangle here. Just because that mouse went a little bit weird there. Just because we don't need that many polygons in this area. You never know, we might do. So I might just save that until the end actually, and if we need to reduce the polygons we can. So I'm going to distribute these over a larger area, just because we don't need any more definition around this point. Don't worry about these wrinkles, they're going to be done with normal maps, we don't need them in the actual geometry. So I'm just putting these points around about halfway down the flap for the boot, and holding down shift, I'll just join them all up. So I don't know if I really need to say this, but obviously the more polygons you have, the more rounded and more detailed your overall model is going to be. But just in case, I thought I might as well mention it. What we could have done is just have one cylinder around this area, but I'd like to keep a little bit of the billowing effect that goes on. So just put an edge loop around there. Of course, what you could have done is put the points down here and join them all up and then insert an edge loop along the way. So that'd be another way of doing it. I just like creating work for myself, it seems, as I didn't think about that until now. So I think I've got a bit of dust on my mouse sensor. That's better. So yeah, I think we can kill off a few of the polygons in this area. We don't need that amount of resolution on this bit. So let's drag these down here. Let's follow these around. There we go. Okay, so we don't have to worry about this area under here. We're actually just going to bring this down to the point on the boot. We don't need to be able to see underneath the flaps themselves. So Just going to drop these in. I'm not going to have that sort of negative cavity there, as you wouldn't see it anyway in a game. If you want to do it, go ahead, but I'm going to save myself the time and the effort. Something which you're never going to see, so normal maps and texturing will add to the illusion that there's something there anyway. So make it look like there's a cavity. There we go. Let's get the sole of the feet in. Really just kind of focus on areas where deformation will occur. So we're going to have deformation around the toe of the boot. So just going to get those drawn in. So I definitely want a few extra edge loops around areas which will have deformations. Let's pop another one in around there just to help crease up the toe a bit. And that should be enough. We're going to have to start bringing edge flows to an end at this point, because it gets a little bit weird when trying to carry edge flows around the side of a shoe. So we're going to end up bringing these together here. There we go, that's pretty neat. Let's do the sole. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Don't have to worry about that indent. Normal maps will take care of that, but if you really wanted to, you could always put an edge loop in. I'm not going to bother, because normal map will do that absolutely fine. Just going to add another couple of dozen polygons that we don't really need, so no point wasting them. Okay, so start bringing this up to the ankle area. It's going to be where it starts to get a little bit complicated with changes of direction, changes of anchor points and such. So here I'm going to start putting a ring around this part of the boot here. Yeah, I'm just marking them in. I'm not really noting down where they're going to be joining up, as we'll solve that as we do it. I just want to make sure I've got something in here. So it looks like we'll need an extra one in the center. So let's get these joined up. Come on, do what I tell you. Hey, when it does this. Right. Let's just force it. Let's just put a quad in there and we'll merge that vertex up to this point. Come on. Oh, this is going to be awkward. Right. Again, let's force it if it won't do it. Let's try and get a quad appearing there. I wish I knew why it did this and how to prevent it from happening, but again, it's something I'm going to have to do a bit more research into. For now, we'll just deal with it. That's not what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to join up with that point. Part of me wishes I had done this in Topogun. As I've been, I'd probably have got it all done by now, but oh well. Everyone wants to know how to use Maya, so I figured I would do it in Maya. Come on. Thank you. Let's delete that one, bring this vert over here, and see if I can actually get the quad appearing. There we go. Let's just bring that over and get the boot a little bit more rounded. See if we can create the quad in there. There we go. Okay, so just to add a little bit of extra smoothness to it, we'll put an extra edge loop in here, just to give a bit of extra shape. Not that it's really needed, but still. Let's put an extra edge loop down here, because then we'll want to join these parts up. So let's just move this a little bit more central. Distribute that a little bit further over to the side. Okay, getting pins and needles in my hands again. Let's start joining these up. And this is where we'll pop an extra edge loop in there. And I don't think we really need another one, but we'll probably put a diamond in. We will put another edge loop in because that's going to help with the deformation of like twisting the angle and such. Twisting the ankle rather. And it'll give us some geometry to project our strap onto as well. This geometry is something we're going to want to spread out a bit. There we go. So we can get a change of direction in here. No deformations happen there, so we can always bring that to a triangle. Just quad that up. And I think I'm just going to bring a quad down like this, just to help with the deformation of the foot moving upwards and downwards. Rotating. I think I might add an extra edge loop around here. No, I won't. I'll just delete this face, and I'll make a triangle. No, actually that'll work fine. Putting a quad in like that, it'll help us bring that to an end. Help us keep the shape a little bit better as we flatten this down. I think I'll just delete that, and we'll put a quad in there. That's where things get a little bit jumbled, so I'm just going to go around the back and I'm going to start putting some curved loops around the ankles. It's going to help us get the form correct. So it's going to do this independently for now, and not worry about where it joins up, and then I can solve that when I need to. Let's keep the rounded shape. And can bring that in and join that up there. So let's just join what we can here. Let's remove that point and we'll just drop these together. We'll move these points up to where we have the bootstrap coming out, so we'll keep the form needed to capture that information on the normal map. The whole idea about this is that you're essentially creating what's known as a cage, which we'll then use to project our maps onto, and the idea is that it has to envelope or envelop, if you prefer using that word. It has to envelop the geometry in order to capture the information below it. So I'll be using a few different techniques on doing clean bakes from these textures once we get into X normal. Make that a triangle and tidy that up. And let's just make this a triangle. So force a quad in there, merge those vertices to a point and merge it to another one. And that'll do. Not brilliant, not particularly tidy, but it's got everything it needs to work. Just need to finish this bit off here. That'll do it. And let's just get this this sole in. And we only need to do this once, we'll be mirroring it over to the other side. So this bit isn't quite as tidy as that. Need an extra 2 loops in there, so I'm just going to delete this face and I'm going to make a triangle here. Put a quad there. That enables me to join these points up. Mine will let me do it. There we go. Just get those down to straighter points. We'll be modifying the sole of the feet once we've done with the retopology, just to make it flat. But for now we just want to get everything in place, even if it is a little bit wobbly. Just force a quad in here. In this section we want to continue the edge loops from this point all across the base of the shoe, because that's going to be where the deformation in the toe area occurs, so we need to keep that going. And once we've got that in, we can tidy up the rest as we see fit. That actually worked out quite well. Doesn't really matter how we tidy up this section, but try and keep it tidy or making sense at least. I think what we'll do is bring out an extra quad here. Because it's not going to work the way I thought it would, so I'll just make it a triangle. And we'll do the same here. And there we go. Alrighty, so boot done. Let's go ahead and get that over to the other side. Let's turn off quad draw. Let's turn off our reference mesh. Let's go ahead and hold down right click and select face mode. I'm going to select all the faces of the boot. Hold down shift to select the ones we missed. There we go, it's fine. Up to mesh, and we'll go on to extract. Then we'll go over to edit mesh. Sorry, not edit mesh, mesh. Let's just make sure we've got that selected in object mode. So mesh, mirror geometry, and we'll do it on the minus x-axis. Oh, looks like we've got a bit of an offset problem there, so let's just undo that. Let's undo to the point of where it's still the same mesh. So we'll do edit and mesh, extract, click on the options button. We don't want to do any sort of offset, we'll press apply. And no, it looks like we may have needed an offset on there. That's okay. What we'll do is we'll just move it into position, so we'll do mesh, mirror geometry, apply. Don't think that did what I thought it did. We did the entire body instead. Let's just undo that and make sure we have our boot selected in object mode. Go to mesh, mirror geometry, and we'll go ahead and press apply. We'll then select the boots, go on to face mode, and we'll select all the faces of the boots except for the ones on the right hand side. We'll then go onto the move tool and turn off the snapping if you've got it turned on and move that over. We'll turn on the reference layer just so we can see, make sure it's lined up. It's about right. Turn off the reference layer now. Right click on a mesh and go to object mode. Hold down shift and select both of them. Go into mesh and press combine. And here we can tidy up the edge loops. So let's go onto the modeling toolkit and go onto quad draw. We'll turn the reference mesh back on. And we'll just need to rejoin up these vertices here. So let's move them down and weld them back up together. In fact, I think I'm going to do it the lazy, easy way. Let's go on to quad draw. Let's hide the reference layer and we'll go back into vertex selection mode, and we're going to select all the vertices in this area. Hold down shift and select the ones you missed. Hold down control and deselect the ones that you don't want. I think that's all of them. We'll then go up to edit mesh, click on merge, and we'll press apply and close. And that should have merged all those vertices together for us. So let's go ahead and sort out how we're going to do these over here. It's probably going to be easy to go into quad draw again. And we'll turn on the reference mesh so we don't get too confused. And we're going to join that up to that one, and that up to that one. We'll do Move this one around and join those two up. It's going to try and get it to select that vertex that I know is there. And join that up to the leg here. Do the same there. Come on, snap back. Thank you. There we go, that's everything welded together and everything in the correct shape. So that's going to do absolutely fine. Okay, let's get these gloves in. So we're going to turn off this layer for now. We're going to turn off quad draw. And we might as well just select our entire mesh and just smooth the normals. Make sure everything looks alright. Looks like we've got a bit of an issue there, so let's check that out. Yeah, let's go on to quad draw and turn our reference layer back on. Let's go ahead and get a quad in there and merge that vertex down. Do the same on the other side. Looks like we missed out this triangle. There we go. Let's turn that off. Turn off quad draw and take a look around. Everything looks fine to me. Let's just do the soften edges again. Yeah, it's all good. Okay. Yeah, that works. Alrighty, let's get these gloves done. So let's get the gloves in now. We're going to go and go to File and Import. I'm going to go back into our working folder and go to Export, followed by Medium Resolution, and we're going to choose our gloves and import those. We'll then import do the glove charms. And finally we'll do the wrist straps. Now we'll do the glove rivets as well. And we'll do import wrist straps down here. Import those. That's good. So we've got everything that we need here. Let's just grab everything. Grab everything we need. There we go, and we'll do a mesh combine and just grab whatever's left over, mesh combine. There we go. So we're going to press create new layer with selected objects, and that's going to put those into layer 3 for us. I don't think we actually have anything in layer 2, so let's just go ahead and remove that. Let's put this in our own layer, so let's put that on layer 4 and we'll keep that as our normal layer with our geometry in. We'll then head to layer 3 and put that into a reference mode. So this is Polysurface 13. Let's go into our modeling toolkit. We'll do Polysurface, choose Polysurface 13. Go back to our original mesh in channel layer 4. Head into the modeling toolkit again, and once again go into quad draw. and then we'll start sticking this together. So this could get a little bit confusing, but I think we should be okay. Let's go ahead and just put some vertices around this point. Now we should be able to get away with just doing the one side on this as well, as there's nothing asymmetric about the gloves. There we go. So let's just get some polygons in here to join these dots together. And these are going to be the tricky parts. Let's just get the top of the gloves in. You can see we're not quite getting enough resolution there, so I think what I might do at this point is, if we delete that part of the arm, we'll put a fake quad in there and we'll bring that to... Oh, that really didn't go to the right place. Let's just undo that. Of course, that's going to be tricky. Let's move this vertex up to a point where we have control over it. In fact, I'm just going to undo that for now. And we'll leave it as it is and just deal with... We'll put the extra edge loop in here, I think. Let's just put a quad there. Merge these two together. So it gives us an extra point. And we can do that wherever it's needed. So let's get these joined together. So I'm going to have to do quite a bit just to get the resolution in there. So let's put a quad there, join that up, weld it to a triangle. And we'll do that wherever we need the extra resolution there to capture the roundness of this. So it looks like it's going to be pretty much everywhere. So let's just modify the positions of these. So just putting down quads and creating triangles on top. Doesn't look like I need to do one there. Oh, maybe I do. Let's move that to the right position. There we go. Ah, that one's okay, I think. Yeah, I'll do fine. Should be okay with this one. I think this one's going to be a little bit thin, so I'll have to do the same on here. Oh, something went hideously wrong there. Let's move that up to the correct position. So we should be okay with that one just about. And we'll join that up there and that should be fine too. Okay. Let's just put that in the right place. Just on the lip. There we go. Okay. So, for the most part we're I'm kind of okay on this point. I think what we'll do is let's think. I think we'll just use a cylinder. I think what we'll actually do is we'll turn quad draw off for now. We're going to turn off this reference layer. In fact, we're going to turn off reference mode on here, and we're going to delete the gloves, and we're just going to import the gloves. So gloves medium resolution. We'll import the wrist straps, and we'll leave the rivets out of it for now. So let's grab these bits and pieces. Go mesh, combine, grab whatever's left over, mesh, combine, and then we'll turn reference mode back on. So this is polyshape 17. So let's go into our modeling kit. Looks like we let's turn off reference mode. Unless it is 14, because we did merge them down. Let's try and figure out what the hell's going on. Let's just rename this to gloves. And we'll go to modeling kit. No, it still doesn't want to actually work on there. Nope, that's gone a little bit strange. So we have the gloves. Let's just go to, first of all, go to edit, delete all by type, and do the history. So we have the gloves, we had polysurface 14, not sure what that was. We have polysurface 11, which is our low res, so let's just tidy things up a little bit. Let's go and bring back our original. Let's select this, and we'll go to the attribute editor and type in high res, and then we'll just go edit, delete all by type, and press history, which will clear things up. Let's go to our layer and hide that one. Let's go to our gloves and put that into a new layer. So we have our gloves in layer 5. We'll then go to our modeling toolkit, transform constraints, and we still don't have our gloves. That's rather annoying. Not quite sure what I've done wrong there. Okay, let's go ahead and figure out what we're doing. So that's our high res, our low res rather. Double click on our layer and let's just get this tidied up. Do we have anything in layer 3? Doesn't look like it. Let's just remove this layer then, delete that layer. Have our low res. This is going to be the upper body, so I'm just going to double click that and do high res body, save. We have layer 5, which is our gloves, high res gloves. Okay, so this is polysurface 14 for some reason. Okay, we'll just go ahead and set that as polysurface 14. It's fine. And we'll set this, I think that's right. Yep. And we'll put that onto reference mode. We'll bring back our low res And I'm just going to move that up the layer stack so it's on top. Go to our modeling toolkit and do quad draw, and now we should be set to sculpt. Not quite sure what happened on there. Again, one reason I think I'll head back to Topogun for doing this sort of thing. So let's get a cylinder in here. Let's turn off quad draw for now. I'm going to turn on the grid, and I'm going to go to polygons, and I'm going to create a cylinder. Just drag out and draw it on. It's going to go into my viewports, so I can get this at the right angle. Okay, it's going to go into the attribute editor and go onto the cylinder shape. Sorry, cylinder 1. There we go, cylinder 1. And just add a bit of height divisions on there. And just going to squash this down a bit. So it's roughly up until the wrist. Okay. Hold down the right mouse button, go onto face select mode, and we're going to select the faces along here. Hold down Control, deselect the ones that we don't want. So we'll get rid of the end caps and a few of the other ones by accident. Let's go ahead and get rid of those. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go to our object mode and select it. Just going to scale this down on certain axes so it's a little bit closer to the surface, so mine doesn't have to do quite so many calculations. And move it into position a little bit more accurately. And I'm going to go to modeling kit, go on to edit, and then shrink wrap selection. Give Maya a few moments to process it. Okay, now it looks like it's going to need quite a bit of tidying up, but if we go into quad draw mode, we can then start getting everything into the right position. So we've got quite a bit of deformation around here. Let's just tidy that up so it's not quite so messy. Just get that around the wrist, and then we'll move on to fingers, which I absolutely despise doing. So we may have to kill off a few of the edge loops here. And I'm going to keep this edge loop going around where the wristband is. It's going to give the elevation it needs to be able to capture the detail in a normal map. The wrist strap isn't exactly such an important piece of geometry that it needs to have its own. So having it baked into the textures is going to be absolutely fine. Just pull that up to where the wrist meets the actual hand itself, and let's put an edge loop in there. That'll help define the silhouette of the wristband. Like I say, it's not going to have all its own geometry with peaks and valleys, but if we can get a sort of a raised section which will help reinforce the normal maps when we bake those out, that'll help. Get down to a point where we could really do with killing off some of these edge loops. There's quite a few to deal with. So let's just move these into position first of all. Yeah, we've got a lot of polygons here, so let's go ahead and start merging some of these down. I don't want to delete them. However, I do want to merge some of these down into each other, as they're not giving anything to the geometry, they're just increasing the poly count for no reason. So it looks like we can do a similar thing with the little bits down here. And again on the underside. Just leave that in as it is. There we go. Okay, so let's get this matched up with the rest of the body. So let's turn off quad draw. We'll select our low res, both sections of the low res, and go to mesh and combine. We'll turn quad draw back on, and now we're going to see if we can match this up. It's slightly confusing to look at, I have to say, but just try and get some polys in where we can. Very confusing to look at. Yep, I'm confused. Right, let's not add in any polygons, let's just merge a few together. I'm going to turn off quad draw, go back to our layers and turn off the reference. And I'm just going to use the merge tool. So I'm going to go to edit mesh and I'm going to go merge vertex tool. And I'm just going to merge some of these vertices together just to make it easier. so I can actually see what I'm doing for a start. It's going to end up twisting things a little bit, but we should be able to tidy things up. So let's just head back into Quad Draw, and we'll stick an extra edge loop in here. Go back to turn off Quad Draw, go to Edit Mesh and click on Merge Vertex Tool, and we'll merge these together. Let's pop another edge loop in. And then I can just merge them down if I need to. Let's turn off Quad Draw, Merge Vertex Tool. Okay, so that's joined everything as far as I need it, so that's fine. A little bit of twisting going on, but we'll tidy that up. Okay, let's turn the reference layer back on. In fact, it's not all that bad. Yeah, except for this area down here. Got far too many polys. Let's just join these in. Okay, we didn't need that many polys, so just bring them down to some triangles and everything else will be fine. That'll do it. Okay. So I'm going to leave the palm for now. I'm going to focus on getting the fingers done. One thing I am going to want to do is get some vertices placed around the center of each finger. Thankfully, having these seams that we put in on the high res sculpt provides a bit of a guide, so that's handy. I absolutely despise doing fingers, they can be very difficult to do. Fortunately he's wearing gloves, so I don't have to worry about doing fingernails and things like that. Come on, Maya, since when does any of that make any sense? Come on. Join those for me. There we go. So I want to keep these sort of in line, as we're going to need to put knuckles and joints in and things, so we can actually get the fingers to be articulated. For now I'm just putting in the main shape, and then I can actually add some edge loops afterwards to allow the correct deformations to occur. Come on. the top part of the finger done. Let's go ahead and do the underside. Yeah, not really bothered about the joints just yet. Just going to get the main shape of the fingers in. We can put in edge loops where we need the joints. So this is very slow going. Like I said, I'm not a fan of doing fingers. Thing is, you really have to be able to do them well to get the deformations correct at an animation stage. Because if they're wrong, then it's very obvious. You don't get the fingers doing what you wanted them to do. Just like mine is not doing what I want it to do right now. Join that up. No, no, there we go. Alright. Let's see if I can mirror that topology onto this one to get that tidy. I just find fingers very fiddly. Surprisingly complex things. And they seem to take ages to do. So again, I'm just ignoring the joints for now. I'll have an easier time if I do that. And there we go, we have a complete finger. So let's see about getting these edge loops in around the joints. So as we have an edge loop that we'll need to put around here, and another one there to allow that finger to properly articulate. And then we'll need one in the knuckle area, which is round about here-ish. And I'll put another one through the centre. That's holding down shift and clicking on an edge. And that should give us a knuckle. Okay. I don't think there's going to be a quick way of doing this, so we're just going to have to do the same thing for each finger. Come on, Maya. Just going to go ahead and save, just because if anything did happen then it'd drive me insane. So I'm just trying to mirror the other finger as much as I can, as I know that went well. So I'm just trying to do a similar thing again. Ah, come on. Thank you. Again, don't care about joints right now. Just want to get these damn sausages in. Come on, Mario, in what world does that make sense? What have you done there? Yep, for future projects I think I'm just going to reinstall Topogun, because it seems a lot more intelligent than a £3 piece of software. Okay, so that's the top of the finger. Let's move on to the bottom. Again, just mirroring what I did with the top on the underside. So there's not really a lot to talk about at this stage, guys. It's just a case of getting it done. Just going to put an edge loop in there around the knuckle, and another one in there just for the other joints. Just going to provide decent enough deformation. Just going to create a little bit of a flow there to signify where the knuckle is. That's going to do it. 3 more to go. Let's just get these fingers joined up down here. Come on, give me that poly. Thank you. Okay. So glad I only have to do one side. Okay, let's get these other fingers done. Let's carry on these points around the centre of the finger. Come on, give me the angles I want, thank you. So I'm just going to hit save, it's because, again, don't want to do any of this again. Not quite sure what I'm doing there, I seem to have lost my track. Let's just get rid of those and just do that again. Need to get rid of these. And doing this isn't too bad if you actually have something to do, like in the background. Like, I'd tend to put an audiobook on or some music, but I can't really do that for this video, unfortunately. So it's a little bit on the tedious side. Best thing to do, just get through as much as you can, as accurately as possible, and just get it done, because I promise you the next few, after we get these done, the rest is going to be easy. There's no more complicated parts to deal with, no more articulated parts that need joints and things like that. We have the apron to do, which I'm tempted to just use the low polygon version from ZBrush for that, as it's going to do a decent enough job. Might need to remove a few edge loops and things, but it's going to do the job for us, so we'll save some time. I'd already spent time drawing out individual vertices and things to do that inside of ZBrush, so there's no point in wasting it. Anything you can do to keep yourself sane while doing this, I suggest doing it. I know there's a faster way of doing this inside of Topogun, but I don't know if there is inside of Maya, so if anybody knows a faster way, go ahead and do it. Also, please share, because it's the worst part of doing the model I'd rather do the head again, but alas, they have to be done. Okay, let's do the underside. Come on, there we go. Starting to understand why people speed up their videos. At least once you got the tip of the finger done and the upper part of it done, the rest of it is really easy to get done quickly. So once you got the upper part and the tip of the finger, the underside happens pretty quickly. Unless you get Maya doing stupid things like that. And that. And that. Come on. There we go. Alrighty, let's just get some joints in here. Let's get that one in there. This one in the center of here. It's come out a bit of a mess, didn't have everything quite straight. That'll work well enough. Alright, last finger and then the thumb. Just join these points up there. Didn't do too well positioning those, but that's okay. Can correct them. Oh, come on. Thank you. Alrighty, looks like I need to move these points down. So I get pins and needles in my fingers again. Brilliant. So when I said that the face was the hardest part, it still is the hardest part. It's got the most complicated sort of geometry to figure out and make sure it works. But I think the trickiest part is definitely fingers. They're not hard to do, they're just really fiddly and they take ages. Especially when Maya's just being stupid. Okay, it's the top of the finger done. Let's just get this curve coming up. Follow the joint of the finger here. And let's get the underside done. Behave yourself. Nope, it's not going to. Again, don't care about joints just now. Just want to get these things in. No. And now that's in, the rest should be really easy. Let's just bring them down, match up these edge loops, and do stupid things like that. So what would really speed this up is if Maya didn't do stupid connections. If I'm following a strip of vertices, it'd be handy if it just could kind of understand which ones I wanted. Topogun can do that really well. ZBrush can even make good guesses at it as well, but unfortunately Maya doesn't seem to be as intelligent. Though it's still a whole lot better than 3D Max. Okay, let's get these joints in. Put an edge loop in there. That should actually work fine for that knuckle. Let's put another one in about there, and that'll do fine for that. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thumb in. I'm just going to continue a few points along here, along the halfway line, and do the same as before for the thumb. And once the thumb's in, the rest of the hand is really quite easy. Now you watch me go screw it up. Okay. So it's going to follow the same method as I did with the fingers. At least these strips actually stick together properly, so that's good. just trying to shake out the pins and needles. For some reason I made the bad decision of getting a glossy mouse, so I end up holding onto it a lot tighter than any other mouse that I've had. So moral of the day today, don't buy a glossy mouse unless you enjoy pain. Let's just put an edge loop through that, keep the shape a bit better, drop that in. There we go. Alrighty, most of the thumb done there. Let's just seal that up. And let's just move on to the underside. We'll get the palm and the top of the hand done. We'll get the those little glove charms in with the logos and stuff in, and then we'll call it a day, and I'll go soak my hand in a bucket of ice. Okay, let's get the rest of this underside finished off. Okay, it's going to make the thumb rather flat, so I'm just going to move these edge loops a little bit closer to the centre to give a bit more of an angle to it. Could probably do with adding an extra edge loop into the thumb because it's quite large. I'd rather avoid doing that. Looks like I'm going to have to though. So I'm going to put an edge loop along this, along the centre, and that'll give it a bit more width. Or depth, depending on which way you look at it. And let's just go about setting the joint into the palm. Then we'll put the joints in on the rest of the thumb as well. Makes a change for mine to behave itself when putting these rings in. So we need a joint right here. Fortunately there's only the one in the thumb. And that'll do quite nicely, I think. Let's just move this out. There we go, one joint. Okay, right, let's get this all integrated together. quite what I was after. That's the one. And let's join that up with this. Come on, Ma, you know what I want. There we go, come on. There we are. So I've had to put up with a lot of muttering through this. It's just a case of running out of stuff to talk about. You should know the process of what you're doing now, you should know the hotkeys, you should know the functions. Really, I've gone over a lot of the theory about it, and it's just a case of doing it, so yeah. Okay, so we're going to have to end up using a lot of these edge loops to feed into the rest of the hand. So let's see if we can do that. First of all, I'm just going to start bringing out the edge loops from the wrist. And we need to really sort of start terminating a few of them so that we can get the angles that we need. Just put an extra edge loop there around the wrist, just to allow a little bit of extra flexibility if we need it. And here we're just going to start blending things into the rest of the palm. It's like we have a point where it could really just go down into a triangle here. We don't need these edge loops. So let's just merge those in a little bit further up the arm, save us some polys. It's going to mark a change of direction. So I can see Decimation Master did a pretty decent job with these gloves. They decimated them down to a good poly count, but still gave us quite a lot of detail preserved in there as well. Okay, let's just start drawing this hand to a close, and I'll be glad to see the back of it. Gonna have to start closing up some of these polys now. Let's move these towards the centre a bit more. Let's get this band going around the palm itself. And let's take a look at what's going on the opposite side, because that could cause problems if we're not paying attention. So this isn't the tidiest upper hand I've done, but it's going to work, so that's going to be okay. Let's just close up to a triangle on there. I think we'll end up doing the same here too. Close up to a triangle. This isn't going to be ideal, but it's going to do fine. Kind of running out of time to get these videos done for you as well. As mentioned, running out of hard drive space. So we should be able to tie off these fairly well, I think. this mouse. And this is where we get into the zone of it being so fiddly. Where we have a lot of geometry all over the place and Maya doesn't know where to look. And a bunch of edge loops coming to an end. Just generally just a little bit messy. Alright, for the record, this isn't the best way to do a hand, but it's done. So, I'm fine with that. Those bits don't really matter too much. You're going to get enough polygons there to deform it properly, and what the hell happened there? Oh, don't say I've got to undo to the point of where that went wrong. The hell? Thank you. Great. Let's do all that again. Thanks to Maya being stupid. Alright, where were we? Okay, this section. Let's see if I can behave myself and actually make myself tidy these up properly instead of just messing it up like last time. And there we go. That's tighter than it was. Still a bit of a mess, but it's gonna work. Alright. So, with that hideous little task done, let's go ahead and mirror this over to the other side. So turn off quad draw, let's head back to our layers, turn off the high res, not the medium res. So right click and go to object mode. Nope, sorry. Let's just go into go on to face mode, and we're going to just grab this. In fact, I'm going to grab the entirety of the arm up until a certain point. It's going to be easier to weld some of the points together. So let's just grab that up to that point of the arm. I'm then going to go to mesh and extract and press apply. I'm going to close. I'm going to go to object mode, select body. I'm going to go onto face mode and select the edges up until this point, which we have selected on the other one. And I'm actually just going to delete these faces. So now if we go onto object mode and click on the gloves, center point is in the center, so let's go on to mesh, mirror geometry on the -x axis and press apply, and looks like it didn't want to do that properly, so edit mesh, mesh and mirror geometry. -X and apply. Looks like it's going to be misbehave. That's fine. Let's just do it manually. Yeah, looks like we're just going to have to separate that out with a face selection. Select these faces. Make sure we haven't selected any on the other side. I think that'll work. And to get this lined up more accurately, I'm going to go into my 4-point viewport, and I'm just going to maximize this view here, the front view. Should be able to get it to a point at where the vertices and everything match up pretty much perfectly. So that's pretty much right. So I'm going to hold, click on the snap to points snap tool, and that didn't work, so I'm going to turn that off. Let's just zoom in as close as we can. Move this into position so that all the lines and vertices overlap as best you can. Looks like that is nigh on perfect, not quite. We're getting down to almost pointless levels of error here, so yeah, we're good there. Just zoom all the way back out. Let's select both meshes and go mesh and combine, and then we're going to go into the vertex selection mode. Go back to our perspective view so we can see what we're doing, and we're just going to select these vertices. I'm actually going to select the lasso tool over on the left hand side so that I can just be a little bit more accurate with my selection box. So that should have selected everything around there. Let's do the same for over here. I have a few to deselect, that's fine. Hold down Control, and drag that around. Okay, so now we go into Edit Mesh, Merge, and Apply. Close that down. So if we go back into Object Mode, select our mesh. Go on to normals and soften edge. We haven't got any hard edges around here, which means that there are no split vertices. So we've got successfully stitched our hand and glove onto the other side. Isn't that brilliant? Cool. So what are we going to do now? I think that's going to be all we do on it. We have our dude. We don't have any apron or things like that, or a belt buckle yet, but that stuff is going to be easy to do a little bit later on. So I think what we're going to do now is end the chapter where it is, because this has been a long chapter. I'm pretty sure you're as sick of fingers as I am. So I'm going to take a break and we'll pick up with doing the accessories and the rest of the apron and things, and we'll see how the rest of it goes. So join me in the next chapter, guys, and you guys take care.